a lot of the stories get told over and over again. Things that families are encountering, like the family who has to take a kid to urgent care but is worried about still paying off the debt from the last time they had to go see the doctor. When we have families who are trying to get a car to get to work, and they're trying to get a deal and it falls through and they don't know how they're going to get to work, that impacts people's lives. And what we have in front of us today are bills that say we are going to focus on fairness here in the state, and we're going to do what we can to protect people so they have the predictability in their lives to make the choices they need to make. Because no one who's trying to just do the basics should be dealing with these types of barriers. And folks are struggling today. We know that the cost of living is up. People are having a hard time, doing their household budgets. So we should do everything we can here in Oregon to protect folks, make things transparent, make things fair, and help them avoid unexpected costs. So what we have here today is we're going to be celebrating 3 pieces of legislation, smart solutions to the problems that our families here are facing. And there were a lot of other bills also in session, but we decided to focus on these 3. I want to thank the legislative champions, some of you here from today, and others who put these as priorities during the session, and that's why we have them before us today. We have some great advocates you'll be hearing from. This takes a group. There's a strong alliance of organizations who have come together to work on consumer protection issues. And I also want to thank everyone who came to testify, everyday Oregonians who shared their stories, and you can see them in the written testimony, and you'll hear some of them today from our speakers about things that they were experiencing and how this is going to help them with the bills that I was able to sign. So we have the 3 bills today. We are starting off with Senate Bill 605. So this is about people's credit history. And Oregonians should not have to worry that when they're having trouble, for whatever reason, paying off all their medical bills, that debt does not show up on their credit history. Because people shouldn't have to worry about a medical crisis affecting their credit scores and their credit reports. And with this bill, medical debt will no longer haunt Oregonians on their credit reports, on their credit history, and that is a huge win for Oregonians. Senate Bill 430 is taking a really proactive stance about online fees. Look, we all do a lot online, shopping, services, things like that, and we need to know what we're buying, and Senate Bill 430 makes sure that when you're paying for something, you know exactly what you're paying for, and that you won't get hit with processing fees or service fees that you were not aware of. And what often happens is people have given their credit card information, and then all of a sudden these fees pop up. That's not how this should go. And this Senate bill is going to protect folks who are already trying to figure out how to make their family budget work, so they are not surprised by things. And we don't want any gotcha moments for Oregonians, and this Senate Bill 430 is going to protect folks. And then let's talk about buying a car. House Bill 3178 is going to bring more fairness to buying a car here in Oregon. Some dealers will keep people hanging on for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks until they get their financing done. That is very disruptive and very hard on our families who are trying to get things done. This bill now will say, this new law says that there's a time limit when it comes to the financing deal that you're working out, and then you got to give people a chance to walk away if it's not the right one, and be clear about if it's a good deal for them. And one of the other things the bill does is make sure that this paperwork and this information shared with potential buyers is in different languages, because maybe there will be a language someone else is better at, and that's important for them to know what they're buying. Because for some people, for a lot of people actually, buying a car is probably the biggest thing they're going to do. And so let's make sure that the financing is clear, the deal is a good deal, and they get a choice to walk away if it's not right for them. And that's what this legislation does. So in general, again, these bills are about helping Oregonians who are struggling to make ends meet have predictability and fairness and transparency. We got to do everything we can. It's not going to solve all the problems, but it's going to give people more tools to know when I buy something or when I do something with a big purchase, it's going to be clear what I'm getting, and people aren't going to have to worry about their credit history when it comes to medical services. These are all really good things for Oregonians. And finally, I would also say that, and I was talking to some of the advocates here beforehand, with what the Trump administration is doing to the consumer agency at the federal level, which had for years provided national protections for our consumers, those are getting torn down every single day. So states like Oregon, states across the country are going to have to do more because that agency in DC is now a shell of itself because of the Trump administration. And we have a lot more work to do here. And so I suspect there will be more bills coming in the future. So with that, we're going to have some great speakers today. We're going to start off with some of our legislative champions, Representative Nathan Sosa and Senator Winsvay Campos. And then we'll hear from Chris Coughlin from the Oregon Consumer Justice Group, Daisy Badola Sotella from the Oregon Health Equity Alliance, and Nancy Lopez from Centro Cultural. So thank you very much, and I'm going to hand it over to Representative Sosa.
Thank you so much, everyone. So I'm Nathan Sosa, State Representative for District 30, which is Hillsborough, Helvetia, and Rock Creek. And when session began, I was made the chair of the House Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection. And coming in, we knew that there were a lot of challenges that Oregonians were facing. Things, as the governor mentioned, from purchasing a car to shopping online to paying a utility bill to paying for insurance. There were a lot of challenges that folks were facing, and we knew that there was a lot of work that we had to do to create a fairer, more equitable, and more transparent marketplace. And that's exactly what we did. Working with members of my committee, working with our colleagues in the Senate, we were able to pass 15 major consumer protection bills this session that make it easier for folks to afford their utility bills, that make it easier for folks to purchase a car without worrying that the terms are going to get changed after they drive off the lot, to make it easier for them to understand if their insurance rate is going up, why, and if it's an improper reason, to be able to challenge that. And on and on. We had so many things that we did this session that I am so proud of with all of my colleagues, and 3 of those incredible pieces of legislation the governor is going to be signing today. I am deeply grateful to all of my colleagues, to all of the advocacy groups that came forward, to the governor's office and her team, and to all of the Oregonians who came forward and told their stories, who came to our hearing rooms and told us what was happening in their lives and how these challenges were affecting them and affecting their families and affecting their ability to make ends meet. And so I just want to thank everybody who was part of this effort to make this happen. I'm deeply grateful and happy to be here today, and turn it over to Senator Campos. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Winsvay Campos, the state senator for District 18, which encompasses parts of Beaverton, Hillsborough, and Aloha. Thank you so much, Governor Kotek, for bringing us together on this special occasion. As a chief sponsor of Senate Bill 605, I'm deeply proud of the advocates who fought tirelessly to make this law a reality. This bill represents an important step in consumer protection and economic justice. With Senate Bill 605, Oregon directly confronts one of the most urgent barriers to financial stability: medical debt, which affects 1 in 3 Oregonians. Medical debt so often emerges unexpectedly, triggered by illness, accident, or an emergency beyond one's control. Medical debt isn't something that is a choice. It shows up in life's toughest hours, when health, not money, should be the priority. Yet medical debt has historically been used as a factor in judging a person's creditworthiness, with devastating consequences despite its unpredictable nature. We know what a negative credit judgment means in real life. It can block a family from buying a home, an entrepreneur from starting a business, a renter from securing housing, or a worker from landing a job. In all of these cases, credit scores can be a good signifier of accountability, but medical debt has never been a fair measure of financial responsibility. Penalizing someone for it doesn't help them build stability. It only makes recovery that much more difficult. That is why Senate Bill 605 is such an important step forward. It ensures that medical debt is no longer reported to credit agencies, including in tenant and employment screenings. It removes existing medical debt from credit reports and stops the reporting of debt tied to specialized healthcare credit cards. In short, this law works to fix a broken system that has for too long punished people under the guise of promoting financial responsibility. Along the way, we heard powerful testimony from Oregonians. I'll never forget hearing about the disproportionate debt burden faced by folks like older adults in our communities. For many nearing retirement, medical costs pushed them into record levels of debt, threatening stability at a time when they should be aging with dignity. Some became part of the nearly 550,000 people nationwide who file for bankruptcy every year due to medical debt. This bill is about helping families rebuild when life is upended by a medical crisis. It ensures that an unexpected illness does not become a permanent financial scar. This is economic justice in action, standing up for what is right and giving everyday Oregonians a fighting chance. And that is definitely something worth celebrating. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Coughlin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm with Oregon Consumer Justice. We're excited to be here today to celebrate the passage of 3 important bills that strengthen consumer protection for Oregonians. The freedom to make informed financial decisions that are right for us and for our families should be a given, whether we're buying a car, borrowing money, or shopping online. And when faced with big purchases or tough times, all of us deserve to have our rights and our futures protected. We've all experienced buying something online, seeing a price that seems reasonable, but as you click through to check out, you're surprised by unexpected extra fees. Even so, we go ahead and make the purchase. As you've heard, Senate Bill 430 provides transparent pricing up front, so we will know what the item will actually cost. It's only fair. Next, I'd like to share some comments from 2 consumers who unfortunately are not able to be with us today, but who testified on 2 of these bills during session. In her testimony on Senate Bill 605, Tony shared, and I quote, "I don't want anyone else to experience what I've gone through. It's devastating enough to have a family member go through a medical crisis and deal with the astronomical costs. Now I'm being punished by the credit reporting system, which makes it nearly impossible to recover from this debt. Removing medical debt from credit reports will give Oregonians like me the chance to manage the unmanageable costs of healthcare and get back on our feet. Senate Bill 605 will help Tony reestablish her credit." Dorothea shared her story of buying a car, thinking the deal was finalized, and then having to navigate the complicated process of returning the car when the dealer said they weren't able to secure a loan. In her words, Dorothea urged lawmakers to support House Bill 3178 so that others wanting to finance their car purchase through a car dealership can do so without experiencing the confusion, disappointment, and manipulation I faced. House Bill 3178 clarifies what needs to happen to provide better protections when Oregonians finance a car purchase through the dealership. These bills help us create a more just and equitable Oregon, where people come first. Thank you to the legislative champions who shepherded these bills through the session, to Governor Kotek for signing them, to all the community-based organizations who we worked with throughout the session, and especially to the Oregonians, including Tony and Dorothea, who shared their story.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes. My name is Daisy Bedoya Sotelo, and on behalf of the Oregon Health Equity Alliance, it is an honor to join you celebrating the passage of Senate Bill 605, a major step forward in advancing financial fairness for Oregonians. With this law, medical debt will no longer appear on credit reports, as previously said, and any violations will not be treated as unlawful practices under Oregon's consumer protection laws. But this isn't just a technical change in policy. It's about giving people their lives back. In the last 2 years alone, nearly 1 in 3 Oregonians has taken on medical debt. By removing this burden from credit reports, we give people a fair chance to rebuild their credit, find safe housing, secure employment, and move towards lasting financial stability. I am proud that Oregon continues to lead with both compassion and common sense. Thank you to the bill champions, advocates, and most of all, the Oregonians who share their stories and experiences. Your voice made this victory possible, and because of you, our communities will be stronger. Sí se pudo.
tardes a todos. Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Lopez. I am excited to be here on behalf of Centro Cultural to celebrate the passage of House Bill 3178. Buying a car is one of the most significant financial decisions many Oregonians make. Before now, when you went to purchase a car, you might have thought that signing the paperwork meant the deal was final. But dealers actually had 14 days to finalize a loan. They would call consumers back to the dealership to accept new terms, often leaving consumers feeling pressured to accept higher rates or longer loans. A cohort comprised of community-based organizations and partners, advocates, and topic experts came together last year. Convened by Oregon Consumer Justice, we discussed how we can best build protections for our communities into our policies when they navigate the process of buying a used car. House Bill 3178 reflects these protections. Starting January 1st, 2026, dealers have just 10 calendar days to ensure final lender approval, or they must honor the original terms or void the sale. HB 3178 provides transparency, fairness, and peace of mind during a major purchase. This bill puts power back into the hands of consumers. Thank you to everyone who helped make this possible, especially to Representative Sosa and the Consumer Alliance of Oregon. Together, we are building a more equitable marketplace that works for all Oregonians. Gracias. Thank you.
Well done, everyone. So let's sign some bills. All right, let's go. Thanks, everyone.
Everyone come on up if you'd like to be in the picture.
Get really close.
Get really close.
Really close. We get everybody in. We can move that podium.
We should.
Good. Have everybody look right here. Make sure you can see the camera here. Okay, leave it on the side. Just come just a little bit closer. Squeeze it.